Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Aging with Attitude, Channel 21, servicing the greater Charlotte metro market. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. My name is Phil Koch. I'm your host for the show, and tonight we have a guest that's been on our show a few times now and is a leading person in the senior care industry, which is Cindy. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Phil. It's great to be here again.
Yeah, tell us about your company and what the company does.
Sure. So my name is Cindy Greer, and I am the owner of Transition with Care. I'm a certified relocation and transition specialist. And I started Transition with Care, which is a senior move management company, almost 11 years ago.
Gosh.
And a senior move manager is a dedicated professional who is working for older adults and their families when a move is on the horizon. So what we do is we help them with all of the decisions, logistics, the planning of a move from point A to point B, whether it's local or it could be in or out of the area.
Right.
So that's exactly what we do. And what I like to say are our core services are in the area of move management, which is connecting our clients, with a reputable moving company. And we're there throughout the whole process. As far as, when they're in the home doing a site survey. We help our clients decide what to take, what not to take, and that would be kind of under that realm of downsizing.
Right.
We do custom floor plans when it's a local move. We've actually done them when they're out of the area move, thanks to technology.
Yeah.
But we actually will measure our clients' furniture once we, hear from them, all of their cherished pieces that they would like to take. And then we go to the new home, which could be in a 55 and older, senior community or just a smaller house. It could be a retirement community, a CCRC, or a independent assisted living or memory care.
Mm-hmm.
And we generate a digital floor plan, and that can also be shared via the internet, or email, to other family members that may be out of the area. We provide the packing service, so we pack their cherished belongings, and then again, we're there on move day. That's a busy day, managing all the logistics, making sure that the movers are moving what needs to be moved, and sometimes we have a special way of loading things. And then we follow our clients, the movers, over to the new home. Mm-hmm. And then it's like Christmas, and we're like little elves, and we unpack and put everything away and make their beds, set their clocks, hang their pictures if they want us to do that. Everything to make it feel like home, a smaller version of their home when they walk in. Beyond that, once the move has taken place, we will clean out the previous home. Again, most of our moves are, involving downsizing. Right. And so they're going to be things that don't move. And so whether they need to be shipped to other family members out of the area, or if they need to be sold, or there's
charity or whatever.
Absolutely, donation. And of course, there's always that level of trash. And sometimes that can be more than others. So yeah, we really just kind of do it all. We can be as much help or as little help too.
I think I'll tell you something, in this business a long time.
Yeah.
And this is an incredible service that unfortunately a lot of seniors and their families don't know. It's still a learning and evolving industry, and these type of companies are critically important and can really greatly reduce the stress and anxiety behind a downsize or move to a retirement community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's really, the mission is that we want to reduce that physical and emotional stress wherever the transition is taking place.
Yeah.
And so, the inspiration came when I was helping my own family.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know that, and Phil, I used to be in the home care industry as
Yeah.
far as marketing a home care business. And that was during the time that my mom was aging and needing help. And so I kind of did all those moves, planned and organized. And of course, I loved it. My background was in interior design for many years. And then I, was able to start working in the senior care industry, which I love seniors. And so I just stumbled upon the senior move management industry kind of in a transition period in my own career
Yeah.
and life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know.
Now you can mix the two together.
And it just blended everything that I really love. I didn't know that I wanted to be a business owner, but that's a whole nother story. But being able to, see the relief on people's faces, the family, their parents as they walk into their new apartment or their new home. And it really has been tears of joy for many of them.
Yes.
Because it's so stressful and they're so worried about mom or dad being okay in their new setting. Sometimes it's like sending a kid off to school.
And I'll tell you something, I think what you mentioned is the family members, oftentimes it's daughters that are existing caregivers, or maybe they're not, but this burden falls on them.
A lot of times.
And they want to do it, but they also have a family.
Right.
They have maybe a career, maybe they have both. And they're dealing with their own emotions involved in their mother or father or both moving somewhere. It can be overwhelming. For the senior, yes, but probably even more so than the grown adult child or sibling.
Right. Because a lot of times you have that change in dynamics where, the child is now kind of becoming the parent, so to speak, but it should never be looked that way. But they're becoming the more responsible adult and, trying to manage, a move to move somebody out of their home, one that they probably grew up in too, and that, there's an accumulation of 40, 50 years of stuff. And, stuff means a lot to people, and sometimes stuff doesn't mean so much to people, but, it still has to be dealt with, and it always takes more time, I think, than what people say or think, excuse me.
Yes. Yeah, because I think it helps, in my opinion, that a third party, a company, can step in and help bridge that as opposed to a daughter or a son or a combination thereof. Because oftentimes, not always, seniors will say, well, Karen, my daughter, I want to take this into the retirement community anyway, and you don't know any better. But if your company was to say, I think we should donate this, or they're more receptive to hearing that.
Right, because it's professional advice.
Right.
This is not our first rodeo by any means.
Right.
We move probably close to 60 moves a year.
Wow.
And lots of different family dynamics involved. And like you said, we are able to bridge that gap to where hopefully, everybody is feeling respected and comfortable about what's taking place. Our main goal is to always make sure that the older adult that we're moving, is receiving the respect, is being listened to.
Right.
That's the main goal, and that their stress is alleviated.
Yes.
We're often in times, involved in situations where siblings aren't even talking to each other. And that's very sad. And it's so sad. And for whatever reason, and we don't judge, there's no judgment, everybody's got issues in their families and stuff like that. Again, our main goal is just to, make this very stressful situation go as smoothly, as well organized as possible, and without, any conflict that would affect the older adults as much as possible.
Yeah, which in some cases, if a family member was involved, in particular a child, there could be family dynamics that would prohibit or cause dynamics to flare.
Right.
That with your company involved would be reduced dramatically.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we're involved in what I call covert operations. And that's where, the adult children, are really coaching us, on how to engage with mom or dad. And I just had a situation where the daughter lives out in Colorado. She reached out to me via internet and said, there's a move that's being planned. And the adult children are, in their 60s.
Yeah.
Mom's probably in her 90s, maybe close to it. And all the adult children have already been through a couple of moves with mom, and they're tired, and other things are going on. So, but, mom is not on par with moving, but long story short, they passed along, the adult daughter talked to mom and said, here's a company that could help you with your move. And, you should give her a call or whatever. And actually the mom did give me a call, and I talked to her, and, she said, well, send me your information. And I did so. And then I kept the daughter informed that, she did call, sent the information. We actually have a consultation set. And then the mother called me back on, I think I was meeting her on a Tuesday, called me on Monday and said she wouldn't need my services, that her family was definitely going to be moving her. And so I reported that kind of back to the daughter, and she said, well, I think I need to do some coaching with my siblings and stuff. So, and she said it was kind of par for the course that, mom kind of wants to go down the road of moving because it would be a positive move. But then she just kind of backs away from it. So I guess we'll just have to keep chipping away at her. But yeah, so we're really trying to, sort of massage all of these little situations, to where everybody, is feeling good about the move.
And buy into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you, we go back a long way.
Yeah.
And my own mother-in-law, who is 96 years old.
Oh, wow. Great.
It took 2 years, and we got her to sell her house and move to a retirement community in South Charlotte.
Okay, wonderful.
And my wife and I have been in the business
didn't
for
call
many
me.
years. I wanted to. I'm dead serious. This was a major topic in my house because I said
really?
to Shirley, my mother-in-law, 96 now,
Yeah, wow.
who didn't want to go anywhere because she said retirement communities are for old people.
Right.
And
I'm
she's
not
96.
ready yet.
I'm not ready.
And I'm not ready.
No, I'm not ready.
Right.
Wait till I really needed it. But she was a lovely person. I love her to death, like my own mother. And when it was time to talk about moving and downsizing and the amount of work involved, which, frankly, she wasn't going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she goes, well, that's why I have a daughter.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter's here for, who has a full-time job, 3 kids, part owner in the business
2
that
dogs.
I have, 2 dogs.
Yeah.
And my wife is like,
yeah.
So this stress relief that your service offers is so important, and there's so many people out there that can benefit from it, because there are seniors out there that says, well, I have a husband, or I have a son, or I have a daughter in town.
And they'll do it. They'll do it. So to that note too, one of the things, when they say I'm not ready yet or that type of thing, a lot of times it's because they don't know how to start the process. It's just so mentally overwhelming. And you talk about somebody that's in their 90s, and who are they going to trust but their family? They don't know about our services. They don't want to use anybody else but their family. And I get that. Honestly, I do. But, without understanding that there are these services out there that can take all that overwhelmingness out, people might be staying in situations that really aren't good for their well-being anymore.
Yes.
And only because they, don't know how to get really started in the process.
Or they don't know any better. They don't know another option.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, our services can be as much or as little, as people need. Sometimes people just want us to do the floor planning, that they do have it under, control for packing, and they might have moved fairly recently, like maybe 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and so they have kind of done some downsizing. Or, we can just provide the packing service or just the unpacking. A lot of times we, meet out of town moves and are just unpacking and putting their things away. But back to the most important point is that, people might benefit from going to more of an active community, to where they have more supportive services, and we can just help them do that and get set up so much quicker.
Yes.
And so how is your mother-in-law doing?
She's doing incredibly well.
See, did she ever say, I wished I would have done this sooner?
Yeah, she said it
I know.
over and over and over again.
I know. And
you
we hear
want to
that
say,
too.
we've been talking about this for 2 years, but you don't want to say that, obviously. But yes.
Yeah.
And you hear this so often, is people are naturally afraid to change.
Oh, yeah, it's scary.
And they're in their own environment, their own house for the last 30, 40 years, like she was, 46 years.
Right.
She couldn't envision another scenario other than what she already had.
Sure.
So as you guide her down that path and then she steps into it, her whole world opened up.
Yeah.
Now she has seniors that she
She's
can
not
talk
thinking
to every
about
day.
that house.
She's past that house.
I just had a lovely thank you card. I have a team of 7, and they are amazing. And so we moved this lovely couple. He was in his 90s on oxygen, and she was real, active, viable. He was too, but he had, he was on a walker, and the cannula and the oxygen cannula. And they had been in their farmhouse for quite a long time. And this was right on the edge of the South Carolina line. And, a decent amount of stuff. They were going into an assisted living. They were ready. And so, and we also arranged for an auction, after we got their things moved. But the note said, thank you so much, Cindy, and, and for the team. And, you made an overwhelming process actually fun for us.
Wow.
And, come visit us anytime. So, I mean, I don't know, that just meant so much.
Yes.
And that is what we want to do, is really, take the fear out of this whole process.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. Yeah. We'll make it according to your wishes, and it's not going to be as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, especially if you're involved, because those daunting thought processes of moving, which is stressful for anybody if they move.
Paralyzing.
But for a senior, selling a house and not moving to another house, but even to a retirement community in a smaller space, can be overwhelming and daunting.
And that brings up another good point too, when you talk about selling the house, and we can work hand in glove with the real estate agents, which is real important too. Sometimes, Charlotte's a hot market, and sometimes those houses can get sold, just like that, and they have to be out in 30 days. And so, we just kind of swoop in and can make it happen. And we also have, resources, real estate agents. So when we meet with a client and they're starting to contemplate this move, or they may have already made a commitment to a retirement community, and now it's a matter of, well, I know I'm going to have to get my house on the market. Just like the moving companies that we work hand in glove with, the real estate agents, we can help them, with a referral to an SRES real estate agent that, is specializes in working with seniors,
Yeah.
and which is really important because the sale of this house is not like the sale of somebody that's, a couple that's 40 years old and getting relocated because of a job or something like that, raising a family. This is a much different type of move. So yeah, I'm glad you kind of
No,
brought that up.
it's very important. My own mother-in-law's house, time to put the house on the market, and we realized the roof is shot.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, a storm had hit, a hailstorm 5 months earlier. So we were able to get the roof replaced after negotiating with the insurance company.
Oh, right.
And at first they weren't going to do it. I won't mention the company's name.
Right.
And my wife, who's protecting her mother, goes assertive and said, so you're not going to cover my 96-year-old mother's house who's about to go into a retirement community? And within about an hour, everything changed, and they covered the roof and put the house on the market, and was able to. Unfortunately, she took over, and we couldn't convince my mother-in-law to utilize a service such as this. And in hindsight, there's no question we should have, because when we moved everything into the room, who my sons were involved in, we had about 4 extra chairs and a dresser smack in the middle of this assisted living bedroom that quickly we realized there's no way
just too
we
much,
could fit it.
yeah.
Too much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for saying that. And that's kind of what we troubleshoot, help the families troubleshoot against that, of bringing too much stuff, maybe not even bringing enough stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really, go through it all, very meticulously to make sure that person has everything they need.
And also I would think, to be honest with the families, because I like, for example, my own mother-in-law, she said, well, this is an antique and this is very valuable, we have to bring this. And in reality, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was important to her, certain things, because of memories behind it, but in the actual financial relevance of it, it was not that high.
Right, exactly. So, just another point too, that what someone says is an antique can be an antique, 100 years old. It just doesn't mean that it's going to be valuable.
Yeah.
But there is no price that you can put on emotional value. And so there's a big difference there. And, we take a lot of care in preparing our clients for that reality.
Yeah.
And in our area, Charlotte, brown furniture and dining room sets are not popular. You can see, a lot of the donation sites that, have them, and they aren't moving real well.
Yeah.
So.
But that is important, because a lot of seniors, across the board, assume that certain pieces of furniture in particular are worth so much money.
Right.
And they will force the move into the retirement community, only to realize later that it's really not the case, and you probably could have donated it or sold it.
And then conversely, if you stay on top of what is selling, it could be something that they just don't even care about, and it could have extreme value.
Yes.
And so that's why, and we don't direct sell our clients things. I feel like there's kind of an ethics sort of there, not that other move management companies do, but there is so much involved in just getting somebody downsized and moved and relocated and set up very nicely and clean out their home. And there are other professionals that do that, like estate sales and auctioneers and consignment. And we have really good relationships with those folks too in our area. But yeah, there are things that, I know that we had a client that had movie posters, and they were very valuable, but they, didn't really even
didn't know.
Yeah, did not know. Right. So that's another aspect that people don't think about. It might not be this beautiful, this antique over here, but it could be like this little flower tin that you've had for 40 years.
I remember there's a woman who who's in the industry, and she's an estate appraiser, and she helped appraise items. And I said, what's the biggest thing you ever found? She goes, there was a mill house in Belmont textile mill house years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and the house went on the market, and I came in because luckily a cousin said, you know, these hand painted drawings of flowers that are up hanging on the wall might be worth something. She came in, and it was
Oh, wow.
$25,000.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
if that cousin hadn't just light bulb
Could have gone to
on,
Habitat.
yeah,
Right.
and then somebody else would be selling it for
Right.
$1,300.
Yeah, exactly.
But wow, what a huge
discovery.
that can benefit the
Yeah.
resident that's moving into the retirement community.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. That's really fun when that happens.
Because usually it's the other way around.
Right.
They think it's worth $25,000 and it's worth $25.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
So you do, wow, 60 a year.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And we have projects that are also just organizational projects,
Okay.
keeping people organized in their home. Again, we're always senior focused, 55 and older.
Right.
Yeah, so, and sometimes we're just brought in on, a home clean out. Typically it works better, I think, if we're, have moved the adult and really, become very understanding of what's in the house and and move it as well.
Yes. Now, so are you involved in estate sales, or you coordinate an estate sale company to come in?
Yes, we coordinate the sale. We make
Okay.
the introduction with the client. That agreement is directly with them.
Right.
But most of our clients are looking to us to really, handle and manage, all of the aspects of it. And we are just happy to do that.
Yeah, which is across the board.
Yeah.
And you can also decide, okay, of these items in the house, what's going to go to the new retirement community if they're moving or downsizing to a new
Right.
smaller house?
Right.
What's going to be given to charity?
Right.
What's going to be donated or given to kids?
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
another
arrange
pile.
for shipments and stuff like that.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will do a whole inventory of everything. Sometimes we're called by elder lawyers, that need to inventory contents of homes. We're involved in that. That's kind of called discovery and document.
Okay.
We get referrals from geriatric care managers, the retirement communities, elder lawyers, home care. So we just have a variety of different situations that we're involved in. Anything that, is going on in a home, we kind of know where to go with that.
I think it's an invaluable service. I mean, I've seen too many times where a daughter or son will fly in from Colorado or LA
Right.
to help and spend thousands of dollars.
Right. Lose time at work.
Mm-hmm. Be away from the family to help, which a local company and service like yourself could do on their behalf.
Absolutely.
Well, look, I want to thank you. We winding our time down.
Yep.
Cindy Greer, fantastic to hear about what your company does and the service that you provide. I want to thank all of our guests, and I want you to come back and join us again for Aging with Attitude next week. Take care.